After the faithful journey to buy my new-to-me RV and returning home with it, I was able to find a place to store my new-to-me Grand Design 22 MLE. That night, after it was all tucked in, I headed back to the current dwelling I occupy with my lady friend, the owner of said dwelling. She had a nice meal prepared, and after I had a few pints of my favorite swill to knock off the tension, we were off to bed. It was a race against Mother Nature. The 330-mile trip from southern Michigan to northern Michigan was plagued with constant rainfall and temperatures from the 40s and then as heading north into the 30s. Luckily, I saw very little ice on the road to deal with. The contrast in weather conditions from southern Michigan to northern Michigan was clear. Downstate, there was a warmish breeze with lots of green grass, but in the north there were still several inches of snow on the ground. The next morning, we woke to a different surprise. Ice coated everything, every inch of everything. The truck had a layer of ice, the porch, the driveway, the trees. It was beautiful, but as the day continued, so did the rain and the ice. By 8 p.m., we'd lost power. Outside, there was the crackling and explosive sounds of trees snapping and smashing into the forest floor. Within the city limits, the trees were smashing cars and roofs and homes all around us, crushing power lines, ripping power poles out of the ground. It sounded like a war zone. At about 4 a.m. in the morning, the house was too cold. It was down to about 50 degrees. And I was shivering and shaking. She was snuggled under her 13 layers of blankets. Her only complaint was that her nose was cold. Being the hero I think I am, I swung into action and lit the burners on the stovetop, lit candles throughout the house. And I told her, hey, you might as well get up because it's going to be a long night. And she did. I gathered my boots and my rain gear and headed out into the neighborhood to see if anyone needed help nearby. She turned on her police scanner to listen to the chatter. Not less than 30 seconds of heading out the door, I could hear constant snapping and the crashing of trees. I was careful to walk in the middle of the road to avoid being crushed myself. The destruction was breathtaking. After about 15 to 20 minutes of being outside, I opted to return home. There were first responders and ambulances and police out in force, just trying to keep the roads clear, but by morning's light and a drive around town, it was clear that there was no way they could have kept up with the storm. Over the scanner, there were reports of people being hit by falling trees, elderly needing their oxygen tanks powered. There were too many reports to mention, but one that stood out was an elderly person who desperately needed help in an apartment building, but the dispatch didn't get the apartment number before the call was terminated. So we're going on our third night here without cell service or power. Just a few hours ago, I buried $100 worth of frozen steaks in the snow next to the driveway. Actually, probably more than that. We are having baby back ribs for dinner because they were starting to thaw. Tomorrow it's going to be seafood. The temps are supposed to top out in the mid-40s tomorrow as well as the next few days. We're hoping we can get the meat out of the mound of snow and back in the freezer before it starts thawing out, but it doesn't look like we'll be getting power soon. Initially, I had visions of playing with the new camper, learning all the ins and outs, and begin stocking it with pans and dishes and whatever else one might need to be a full-time RV nomad, but instead, Mother Nature had other plans. What a wicked couple of weeks it's been, and this little story is only a small part of it. There are several more chapters regarding the fate of my poor old mom who is barely hanging on to her last shred of sanity and ability to care for herself. Maybe a story for another day. I doubt it. That one's much too personal, too difficult, too painful to share. We'll see what tomorrow will bring. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, like and subscribe and blah, blah, blah. You know the routine. We'll see you in the next one.